Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is the Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the first installment of the weekly TV roundup. As mentioned a few weeks back, I will be going over various TV shows this TV season and in subsequent TV seasons as well. As the TV season has first just started, not all the shows I will be reviewing have started yet, but today we'll be dealing with three of the ones I mentioned, as well as an additional one that caught my eye recently, though maybe not as well as I thought it could have. We're going to start off with Gotham. Gotham is a look at, Gotham City before Batman was Batman. It focuses mostly on Detective James Gordon and his partner Harvey Bullock. The first episode began with Selena Kyle doing a little pickpocket bit and running around until she ends up in an alleyway and witnesses the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne. Of course, eventually the police show up. James Gordon comforts young Bruce Wayne, who is, as far as the police know, the only witness. And they go on to try and track down the killer. Eventually, after dealing with various unsavory types, including the boss of Oswald Cobblepot, later known as the Penguin, a breakthrough comes up, and a suspect is killed in the process of being apprehended. However, evidence soon comes to light that, at least comes to light to Gordon, that the suspect they apprehended was actually framed. He then informs young Bruce Wayne of this, and the two of them decide to keep it a secret, as it would hurt. Taking down the police department like that would actually be detrimental to the city. Anywho, as this is a new show, I'm actually going to go through more also my thoughts on it. I'm not really too fond of the fact that pretty much all of the established villains that we see, except for Penguin. I have no problem with this for Penguin, but reading the Batman comics, I've always gotten the idea that the majority of at least most of the old Batman villains were within 5 years age-wise of Bruce Wayne. In this, we see a forensics expert working for the GCP, the Gotham City Police Department, by the name of, who is referred to as Enigma, meaning the Riddler. He's easily in his 20s. Bruce Wayne is a child. That just doesn't fit to me. Young Selena Kyle seems to be, she seems to be about somewhere along the lines of 5 years, maybe a little more older than Bruce. Which, alright, it's doable. Casting otherwise, Donald Logue is amazing as Harvey Bullock. He's got the part down, and I would watch the show just for him. I'm a little disappointed in the fact that Leslie Tompkins yet again has been ignored by live action portrayals of Batman. Hopefully later on in the season that will end up being not the case, but we'll see. The aforementioned Oswald Cobblepot, again, the Penguin, perfectly cast. He's got the character down, and I really hope he continues to show up in the series, and we see him grow more and more into the Penguin. Also, the look they got for the city, it looks right, it feels right. You might see it during the day, but that doesn't mean the sun's out. The actor playing Gordon, whose name I forgot to make a note of, sadly, he's a good pick. He needs to grow that mustache though. Jim Gordon needs a mustache. I'm just talking, big bushy, something along the lines of Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation, that kind of mustache. Also, Carmine Falcone is interestingly portrayed. I would say definitely portrayed as well as the character was by Tom Wilkinson in Batman Begins, but at the same time, totally different. Also, Sean Pertwee is, he's no Michael Caine. He does an excellent job as Alfred as well. This is definitely a series I will continue to watch and continue to bring up on the weekly TV recap. Moving on to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the first episode of their second season. This is, as the show has already had one season, and in fact I did a recap of that whole first season a few weeks back. This is just going to be kind of a what happened in the episode. The episode begins in 1945 with Peggy Carter and the Howling Commandos capturing a Hydra base Hydra base that has an item referred to simply as the obelisk. We find out later that it was the original object of unknown origin, which are brought up constantly on the series. Fast forward to present day. Agent Isabel Hartley is in negotiations. Well, Hartley and her team of two other agents are in negotiations with someone over. At first, they weren't sure if it was personnel, gear, or what, and in fact, they weren't entirely sure of the true affiliations of who they were negotiating with. But what was in the negotiations was the location of the obelisk. However, before any sales can be made, Carl Crusher Creel, better known to comic fans as the Absorbing Man, who has the power to absorb and basically turn his skin into anything he touches. To put it simply, if he later on in the episode he picks up a diamond and turns his arm into a diamond. Creel kills the other group and then escapes after being shot multiple times by Shield agents, and we find out that Hartley is working with now director Coulson, as well as May, Skye, so on and so forth. When not in the field, Skye is working on translating the scratchings that Garrett made of the later on in the latter half of season 1, and we also saw that Coulson was working on as well. She also interrogates Ward about Creel once he is ID'd. Ward reveals that very little, but it's found out that Garrett, the Bill Paxton character from season 1, was sent to eliminate Creel and said the job was done, but apparently recruited Creel for Hydra. Ward has been having a rough time, as expected for a traitor, multiple times over, and in fact apparently tried to kill himself during the time between seasons 1 and 2. He is trying to talk to Skye and actually have conversations with her, but really she's just interested in getting information from him. When she leaves which he leaves him behind. However, he does mention after she Ward does mention after she makes so that she can't hear or see him that he knows about her father. That is a major mystery, still unresolved. Next up, Creel goes after General Talbot, whom we saw last season tracking down the remaining 8 members of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's still doing that, in fact, and has been promoted from colonel to general. Good for him. The Coulson and his ragtag S.H.I.E.L.D. managed to find out about this due to information gleaned from Ward about how Hydra used to communicate with their agents while S.H.I.E.L.D. still existed. And Talbot is intercepted by S.H.I.E.L.D. However, a fight does break out between Talbot's bodyguards, S.H.I.E.L.D., and Creel, who, and this actually did make me quite happy, basically rips a ball and chain off of a railing and swings it around like he does in the comic, and that made me smile because, well, yeah. Creel gets captured by Talbot's bodyguards and taken to where the obelisk is kept. Basically, Plan B works for him. Whereas Talbot has been taken to where S.H.I.E.L.D., where Coulson is running his new version of S.H.I.E.L.D. out of, which is a location referred to as the playground. Talbot Coulson tries to get Talbot to work with them. Talbot refuses. However, they get the enough information so they can break into where Creel is being kept and also where the obelisk is. The team go to take the obelisk, and they, of course, end up fighting Creel, who has escaped his cell. Hartley, who I might have was played by Lucy Lawless, and she was quite good in the role. I really liked it, and I hope wrong about something that I'll bring up later on. Hartley opens up the box the obelisk is in, and figures, well, she'll just smack him with it. However, it starts to... I'm not really sure how to describe the effect it has, but it basically turns her hand and then just spreads up her arm, turns it all black. And I'm not like... I mean, like black, like ash almost. Like, you know, it's like it's been burned. Hartley and her team leave the base as security show up to confront May, Sky, and Trip. Creel follows them as that's what he's after the obelisk. Hartley seems trying to get Hartley to a hospital so they can figure out what's wrong with her. Hartley insists that one of her men cut off her arm because she can tell that whatever this thing is, it's killing her. He was working on this, and then their SUV hits Creel. Flips over. And then, while it's flipping over, her severed arm, still holding the obelisk, comes out, which Creel finds, and then he picks up the obelisk himself and leaves. And Hartley is seemingly dead. Like I said, I like the character, and I really, really hope this is not the only time we see her, because, like I said, I like her. How it turns out, however, that the obelisk was not the only objective of sending in the agents. May, Sky, and Trip steal themselves a Quinjet, because while Fitz claims to be working on cloaking technology for the bus, he's having issues ever since the end of last season. Damage to his temporal lobe and whatnot. And we find out, in fact, that he is, while he has been shown talking to Simmons throughout the episode, it turns out he is actually hallucinating her. And in that Simmons has, in fact, left the team. Then May, Sky, and Trip escape with a Quinjet as well as a motorcycle, which was a bit of a surprise, I thought. But hey, and they head back to the playground in a cloaked Quinjet. Good episode. I'm really pleased with the fact that they kicked off the season by introducing us to, in all honesty, two established Marvel characters. One, Crusher Creel, the Absorbing Man, as well as a British Shield agent whose name I cannot recall, but in the comics he was actually a member of the British offshoot of Shield known as Strike. He's part of Hartley's team and is seemingly at the end of the episode the only survivor of her team. Anyways, moving on. A friend of mine mentioned Scorpion, and I took a look at the trailer, and so I thought I would give it a shot. I will say this much: the leads have really good chemistry. They work well together, and you can also you get the idea that Walter and Gallo that Walter does not like Gallo at all. I thought the leads were actually well cast, especially Robert Patrick, because I like seeing him and stuff. Downsides is it seems like a disaster of the week show. The whole idea is that Walter O'Brien, who supposedly has a 197 IQ, has put together a company called Scorpion there, and the rest of the company is Toby Curtis, who's a world-class Harvard-trained behaviorist, Happy Quinn, who is a mechanical prodigy, Sylvester Dodd, who is a mathematics expert, statistician, as well as mentioned later, a chess grandmaster. But they have problems with some of the simpler things in life, like paying bills on time. Anywho, the aforementioned Agent Gallo shows up and gets them to help prevent 89 planes from crash landing, as all communication with LAX has been basically turned off because of a bug in a software update. So they eventually managed to fix the bugs, fix the problem. The planes land, and also a waitress by the name of Paige, who happens to have a genius son, joins the group and becomes basically their liaison to normal people. Like I said, it seems like the show's going to be a disaster of the week kind of bit. It just kind of has all the same beats that we've seen on quite a few shows. I'll keep watching for now, but I don't exactly have high hopes for the series. And finally, for this week's batch of premieres, Sleepy Hollow's second season. Now, I meant to do a recap of the first season. I really did, and time got away from me, and there ended up not being one. Anywho, the quick version: Ichabod Crane comes back from the dead in modern day Sleepy Hollow, teams up with a sheriff's deputy named Abby, and it turns out the two of them are prophesized to be witnesses to the end of days. Various other things happen. At the end of the season, it turns out that the Sin Eater they had been getting help from, played by John Noble of Fringe, it turns out that he is actually Ichabod's long-lost son. Well, Ichabod and Katrina von Tassel from the old story. And he's also the Horseman of War. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the Headless Horseman, is not just the Headless Horseman, but he is the Horsemen of Death. Right, it's a really fun show. But Henry, Ichabod's son, buries Ichabod alive, while Abby gets Katrina out of purgatory. But the rules of purgatory state that a soul can only leave if another soul takes its place. So Abby's stuck in purgatory now. The second season began, and honestly, I felt lost at first. They talk about a year, it's been a year and all, and people have died, and I'm like, wait, what? What did I miss? But it turned out to be a dream sequence of sorts, a waking dream sequence. I'm not really sure how to put it, but it was so that basically it was a means of having Crane, Ichabod, Abby, as well as Henry all find out about the key to purgatory. Anyways, Crane managed to escape the coffin that he was buried in. At the same time, Abby is trying to find a way to contact Ichabod, as Katrina had done the same while she was in purgatory. Crane then goes and rescues Jenny, Abby's sister, who's also who's a close ally of theirs, and they, in fact, find the key. We find out that Katrina is the prisoner of the Horseman, who in fact is the equivalent in this of Brom Bones from Washington Irving's Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Anyways, Crane, with the key, goes to purgatory and rescues Abby. Yay! And in the end, they return. The key is destroyed. Or even better, especially since Moloch, who is the big picture bad guy, so to speak, is working on raising a demon army in purgatory to attack the living. When he finds out the key is destroyed, he contacts Henry and basically tells him to loose his horseman self upon the world. And the episode ends with the armor of war coming out, and it looks pretty sweet, actually. And it should make for an interesting season. Anywho, that's really all I got for this week. Next week, it'll actually probably be the same 4 shows next week. In 2 weeks, we'll be adding The Flash, and in 3 weeks, we'll be adding Arrow. Admittedly, Flash and Arrow both premiere in 2 weeks, but Flash premieres on Tuesday and Arrow premieres on Wednesday, so yeah. Anywho, that's all I got for now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to follow me on social media. Links to those are down below. And I will see you later on this week. Live long, rock hard.